What is going on, everybody? Welcome to my guide on UI Omen Goku. Now, for those of you who saw that original video that I had up yesterday, I am sorry about how that video turned out. It didn't really do very well. Not a lot of views. It only slightly broke over 100, and I think that's because of the fact that people found it boring and or annoying because I was ranting a lot in that video. Because this character, the thing about him is that he is easily my favorite Goku to play in the game, but he just has so many issues. So I just couldn't help but rant about those issues. When there are so many characters in this game that are just mindlessly broken pay-to-win DLC characters. Blue Gogeta, for example, is like the most painful example. But that video had a bunch of ranting in it, and I didn't want that video to turn into a rant video. But it had the unfortunate results of turning into a rant video unintentionally. So I decided to remake it, and also to not split it into two parts like I originally planned. So, for those of you who didn't see that original video, I will be going over what I did in that video, but I will also not rant as much, or at least try not to. I will voice my complaints just a little bit, but that's it. In this video, I'll show you his strengths, weaknesses, his cancel windows, which he has very little, infinite combos, stamina break setups, optimization. I'll teach you how to properly utilize his many skills, and the tech at the end. So, without further ado, why don't we get into those stamina break setups, shall we? Now, first off, you've got one heavy. Most characters can do this. Then he's got two heavies. This only links light stamina break. Then you've got square. You got square triangle here. After that little spin kick, light stamina break. And as I mentioned before, whenever you do a double triangle, any kind of double triangle stamina break setup will work if you do dash square triangle. So he has that as well as probably one of your best options because of that. Because you can immediately do it after rushing in. Then he's got triangle square, which is probably your #1 go-to option. Very fast. Very fast. And the reason it's your best option is because look at this. Look how fast this is. And it's on his dashing square, which has a lot of range, priority, and invincibility frames. So yeah, you're gonna hit this a lot. I hit people with this a lot online. Unless there's an abhorrent amount of lag, it will work. Then he's got this one here. Only on the ground is this possible, and it only links a light stamina break. Then he's also got this one here. 5 squares. And then 7 squares also works. And if you want, you actually can spend the bar after the 8th square. I mean, no, not 8th square, excuse me. After the the 5 square 3 triangle combo of this Goku. After that final triangle, if you want, you can spend the bar and get a stamina break. But as I mentioned before, for those of you who saw that original video, he only has 6 bars of stamina, so this is very risky and it's very impractical. Then the other method he's got is this one, which after the blast on this one, you can also link a light and maybe stamina break. because in order for that final punch to land, they make him fly back they make your enemy fly back very slow, so it's able to fully connect. See? Though once again, you're spending stamina, so this is not ideal, but it is an option. Now, unfortunately, these are very inconsistent, and they cost stamina, so I would not really recommend it. They can work, it's just very inconsistent, especially online. There are many times where my opponent will just go right through my stamina break and I'll miss. Then he's got this one here, which will not link on the ground for some reason. It's weird. In the air it links, but on the ground for some reason, I don't know. The physics just don't work unless you delay it. See? You gotta delay that hit. Otherwise they're too far above your head for you to be able to hit it. However, you can hit a heavy stamina break that way. And then finally he's got this one here. But once again, you're spending stamina, so not ideal. But it is an option. And that is his last stamina break setup, everybody. Now let's get into those loops. Now, this guy, for those of you who saw the original video, this guy he mostly only has key loops. This one is one of them. And then the other one is this. But when you're online, these usually don't work anyway, so they're not really ideal. They only work offline because the AI just can't recover out of it for some reason. You cannot do it after this because you just can't keep up with them. These combos hit like a gravity impact. They hit you very, very, very hard. You see how far it tosses them back? Yeah. All of the kicks on his heavy combo do this. And he's not fast enough to catch up to him. So it's not possible. It's also not possible after this. Not consistently anyway. There are times where I can catch them, but often it's not possible. But he does have two ways to loop without this. And one of them is this. This is one infinite you can do using his little vanish glitch here. And I am almost positive it is a glitch. It may very well not be, but it just feels so out of place and weird. Omega Shenron once had something like this for a very short period of time, and they patched that out. So I am pretty certain that this is not intentional on Dimps' part. They did not mean to put this in, but it is an option that you can do. You can also do it after this. The trick to it is that you've got to triangle back hit any kind of combo that knocks your opponent off balance is where it works. Triangle, back hit, square, and it will automatically make you vanish. See? And then you go into whatever you combo you want after that. But it works on every single one of these heavy kicks here, even the last one where he does this really cool cinematic spin kick. See? Probably his most reliable infinite combo, to be honest. Although, be very careful about it online, because if you're in a 3-bar or any lower, lag can cause you to glitch. It will cause you to vanish halfway across the map and completely miss. So keep that in mind. But other than that, this is the most reliable infinite. Then he's also got this one here. After that blast, true infinite right there. They cannot roll out of this. And in fact, they can't vanish out of it outside of the melee hits. After you hit them with the blast, they can't vanish out of it. They have to evasive or limit burst. Then the final one that he's got is this one here. Which is definitely your highest damaging one. Though there is another way to make this a lot more punishing to your opponent, and that is by doing this instead. If you delay a power key blast shot right here, they cannot roll out of this if you time it right. You gotta delay it quite a bit so that you have enough distance by the time it hits them. See? And this does work online. See? If I don't time it right, they can roll out of it, but if I do time it right, they can't. That includes this combo here. However, you don't have to delay it. With this combo, you actually do not have to delay the blast. See? And that gives you a combo extension. Same with this one. The final hit of this also, you don't have to delay it because it tosses them just at the right distance. The only one that you have to delay is the final kicks of his full triangle, square, triangle combo. Other than that, you don't have to delay any of the hits on these combos for this to work. And this is another good way to infinite your opponent, because it is inescapable and it gives you extra inescapable damage. This I did not mention in the original video. But that is the last of the teleport glitch loops. Now let me show you his other gimmick, which might be a gimmick or it may very well be another bug on Dibs' part. But you can actually combo into his grab. Any kind of standing string that keeps your opponent on their feet, even strings that don't actually combo into it, can be canceled into his grab. And as you can see, it doesn't slow it, it doesn't actually speed up the grab. His grab's actually quite slow on startup. It's kind of like full power Jiren. But it does create combos like this. You gotta time it correctly, otherwise they can just mash square and roll backwards out of this. Now online, this can be a little bit iffy. If your opponent is really mashing the crap out of their square button, they can just roll out of it for some reason. I did not mention that in the original video. But the combos that work with this are 1 triangle, 2 triangles, 5 squares, ugh. 5 squares will work. And then after those barrage punches, you can also do it. And then, of course, square triangle will also work. All of your stamina break setups will work with this. Except for the ones that require a stamina bar consumption, of course. And you can also restand them like this. The trick to it, though, is that you have to press your block and bumper at the same time. If you don't, they're going to roll out of it. Or, worse, you'll key blast them. And you don't want that, because you'll drop your combo if that happens. So practice this before trying it online. This combo also links into it. See? And as long as you're not fighting somebody who's extremely laggy, they cannot just mash square and roll out of this if you time it right. But those are the last infinites that he has. Now let's get into the skills. Now, first off, he has Ultrasonic Blitz. Now, this attack, it's okay. It's an okay counter. It's not the best, not even slightly. But it's fairly generous. It is a reaction, but it is not a reaction-based counter. It is a prediction-based counter. You have to kind of do it ahead of time, predicting when your opponent's going to strike you. Otherwise, they can just outright punish you because this thing is very unsafe. It's not quite as unsafe as something like a Rough Ranger, for example, but it will stop you from being flanked. And you can throw it out during any one of his combos. But as you see right there, very punishable. The AI is already good at predicting whenever you're going to do a counter. Well, not really predicting, but it just reads your input and stops pressing buttons so that it doesn't trigger it. But the best thing about this counterattack is that, unlike most counters, this counter is a grab. This is like a time skip or a God Fist. If you try and snap vanish this, you're wasting your stamina bar and it will catch you. So you cannot one bar vanish out of this. Even with Super God Shock Flash, you can one bar vanish out of it. This, you cannot. If you try, you're still going to waste your stamina and you're going to get hit. And as you see, I have enough time to get combos off after it. It's guaranteed damage. It's the best thing about it. Now, the weakness to this counter is that it has the same weakness that a lot of the lesser, the most counters in this game, the most of the counters in this game, unlike Super God Shock Flash and I think Pressure Sign, are the ones that people typically use. Although GT Vegeta's new skill is actually pretty decent as well, though to be honest, I don't see many people using that either because it has the exact same problem. This move does not counter key stun fishing. So if your opponent is one of those people that just likes to harass you with constant key dash stuns, yeah, well, unfortunately, you're just not going to be able to get it off because they are never going to stop doing it if they know you have that move. So unfortunately, until it possibly gets a buff to where it can actually counter Key Blasts, it's not very useful. Not in traditional like meta play at all. Because let's be honest here, people's favorite playstyle to do in this game is to harass you with as many Key Blasts as they can. The majority of the player base in this game do not like just approaching you unless they have an absolute megaton of iframes on their attacks. Unless they do, this is what they're going to do to you, constantly. And if you're fighting somebody who does this, and does not approach you until they hit you with one of these, unfortunately, it's just not possible to get this off. Now, I have a suggestion to Dimps, if they somehow find this video. Probably won't, but a suggestion to you is to make this counter basic Key Blasts. It doesn't have to counter supers, but make it counter basic Key Blasts. That is the one thing missing from this game's toolkit, is a way to stop this really annoying free harassment playstyle. This overused tactic that is basically unpunishable. If it could do that, this skill would be one of the best in the game. Because it would be a hard counter to that playstyle. But now let's get into Spirit Pulse. Now, Spirit Pulse is, well, I already ranted about it in the other video, for those of you who saw it, but it's basically a far worse version of Soaring Fist. Its max range is about here. Yeah, right there is its max range. So it's not even a far range skill. As you can see, not only is its damage pitiful, its range is pitiful, it does not combo extend. And it's just a quick little punish, if anything. Like if your opponent is like constantly dashing around trying to get you with back hits or something like that, sometimes I'll throw this out to catch them. But why would you do that whenever you've got key stuns? Like, it pretty much serves no purpose other than being a lower damaging combo ender than his next skill, which is Divine Kamehameha. This skill is much better for damage, and it's much better for combo enders because you can do it right after his highest damaging string. And look at that, the damage is far greater than if I do a Spirit Pulse. See? You're getting much more reward for your money at that point, or your key rather. So it's not really worth it. This skill desperately needs a buff. Also, like I mentioned before in that other video, Dimps, why in the heck would you give this worse version to the third preset of Mastered UI Goku and not give him this? This is actually something that Mastered UI Goku did to Jiren as well. Like, to be honest, if this skill was created by me, if I had the faculties to be able to make my own skills, I would have made this function two ways. It would have had one function where it counters basic attacks. It will not counter supers, but it will counter basic attacks. And then the other function is if you hit me with a Ki Blast, then he'll do his Celestial Whirlwind attack. That's how it would work with me. If you do Ki Blasts, I'll swoop by you and do Celestial Whirlwind. But if you hit me with basic attack, I'll do the Ultrasonic Blitz. That's how this attack should have worked, in my opinion. But unfortunately, as it is, it doesn't really work that way. Now, the other skill that he has... Oh, wait a minute. I'll get into the other thing about Divine Kamehameha. It's a very gimmicky skill. It's a very, very gimmicky skill. Oh, wait, no, that's Power Rush. Come on, Jiren. That's its feature. That's its gimmick. Its gimmick is that if you trigger it and you try and fly towards any kind of energy blast, it'll counter it. That's its whole gimmick. Not very useful outside of PvE. You're never going to be able to hit this on a player unless they are just really stupid. Then the other problem that he has, and the other skills that he has Super Kamehameha, very boring, basic, just all-around good 3-bar skill. It's boring and basic, but that's one of the best things about it, is that you can't go wrong with it. And then his unique ultimate attack, which I really don't get why they would make it so weak. Look at its damage compared to Super Kamehameha. Why they would make it do less damage is beyond me. It has this gimmick, but it really isn't worth it. And online, this thing will not connect on knockbacks. And sometimes, even if you do the warp, there have been many times where I hit them with that first initial attack, that first punch, and it just pushes them so far back to where the rest of the attacks whiff completely. So this skill's not very good. Outside of, like, the best way to use it is do a heavy stamina break. Like, that's literally the best way to use the skill, but unfortunately, and you can do something like this if you want, and get more damage off, but that's it. It really honestly isn't worth it. And then his worst skill, arguably, is freaking Celestial Wave, not Surging Spirit. Surging Spirit's actually the chart skill. But Celestial Wave costs 3 bars on a 6-bar stamina character. It doesn't do nearly as much damage as you'd expect it to do, and it cannot combo extend, so it's basically worthless. outside of keeping you safe. But Mastered UI Goku has a way better evasive in the form of Instant Rise, so unfortunately this one falls short. But that's it for his skills. Now let's get into just some basic optimization, okay? Now, one thing that you can do is this. Here's a basic combo here. If you want to use Spirit Pulse after that charge Ki Blast, you can. That's the one purpose it has, is that after a charge Ki Blast, you can land this. Whereas if you try it with Divine Kamehameha, you're never going to be able to get it off. Unless you do that. But you could be getting a lot more damage if you do that, that glitch setup combo extension that I showed you earlier. Here's another example. Pretty simple. If you want to loop them, you can. See, if you delay it, it won't work. You cannot delay it. Unfortunately, you can't land it after that combo. The best way to start a combo with this guy is to always go into the grabs. In my personal opinion, it is. You can go into whatever you want after that. Also, after this combo here, if you do delay that charge Ki Blast, you can land this. Another thing you can do with this combo, and this is another reason why Super Kamehameha is a much better skill than his other ultimate, is because you can unvanishable it with that combo. His strongest combo is able to set up Super Kamehameha without a stamina break. Even online, this works. See? So you could do something like this if you wanted to. Oh, wait, not that. Hold on. This right here. Yeah, you could do something very simple like that. Some people think unvanishable ultimate setups are cheap. I personally don't think they're cheap unless it's like a special beam cannon that you're trying to hit, because that's an attack that you cannot take a single hit from, otherwise you're eating the full damage. Here's another example. If you absolutely want to land a freaking Sign of Awakening, the more consistent method is not what I did right there. It's to make it work. But keep in mind, in lag, in extreme amounts of lag, this can also still just whip. And you can do that as like a way to create pressure. Whenever your opponent recovers, you can still vanish and get right over to him and start attacking him again. This is one good thing about that little glitch. If it is a glitch anyway. It's very unclear. Is if you do this, and if you immediately use that little vanish tech, you can immediately just start getting right in their face again with that. See? Pretty cool. Now I'll give you some basic, just kill combos. Oh, hold on a sec. Wrong freaking combo. Here's a basic one. There you go. There's one that'll pretty much always kill, because by the time you stamina break your opponent, they're probably not going to have enough health to survive that. You can actually get a stamina break off after doing this string here. You gotta time it right though, and it's better not to be on the ground, because you saw what happened there. It made me turn around. And you don't want that, because then you can't back it. See? Better to do this when you're in the air. For that reason. Here, just let me get him in the air real quick. See? Whoops right over to him. But if you delay it too much, and if the map gets in your way, it won't work. So just keep that in mind. It is a way to get more damage off, but at the end of the day, is it really worth it? Here's an example right here. And if you wanted to, after that sign of awakening, you can actually do something like this instead. I'll just give you the short version to show you what I mean. It can be a little bit difficult to do that at that distance. It's better to hold your block button before you do it. Unfortunately, you can't really do much. Except this. If you want, you can loop it like this, maximize the damage, put the super Kamehameha, finish him off. You can do whatever you want. Those are just some basic examples of optimization. Now, let's get into optimization without just doing two super Kamehamehas or 3 super Kamehamehas back to back, which is what most people would assume maximizing your damage is, or just looping this combo. Like sure, you can definitely just do this. If you really want to kill your opponent by just looping the same combo over and over and over again, like, you could definitely do something like this if you wanted to, but do you really want to do that? Like, yeah, sure, you're gonna kill your opponent guaranteed, but it's so lame. Now I'll show you some basic tech. Or I'll show you some basic to advanced tech, rather. We're going to turn off that recovery for this. First off, one thing you can do, unfortunately, I regret to inform you that for those of you who know what Hit can do, Super Saiyan 4 Goku can do, and what Kale can do, unfortunately, he cannot K-Blast through their bodies during this little stun here. I've tried it, there's no way it works. Even as early as I can K-Blast, it does not do it. However, there are still uses for this. Here's one that you can do when their stamina broken, of course. Set up an unlock back hit like so. Or you can do it like this. Instead of going into that, you could do the same with this combo here, or same with this combo here. Go into whatever you want after that. The thing that you can do after his grab is do a quick circle there. You can also do that, or if you're really gutsy, you can actually kind of go over their head. Though this is admittedly hard. This one is pretty difficult. It takes a lot of timing, and it takes precise timing. See? You can go over their head though. Now, if their stamina are broken, it's easier to do it like this. It's easier to throw a Ki Blast at them first, because it doesn't actually knock them down. It will not continue the combo though, so keep that in mind. If they're fast enough, they can react and back hit you if they have an invincible back hit. It is a tech that you can do. Another way that you can overhead is like this. Oh, hold on. I've never been good at this tech, so just bear with me as I mess up a couple times. The idea is to get right over your opponent's head, set up a back hit that way. But like I said, I have never been good at this tech. Always been an awkward one for me, personally. That's the, like, that. Hold on. You gotta angle your stick so awkwardly. There we go. See, it is possible though. Same applies with this combo here. So it's slightly easier to do with this combo, honestly. As I mess up. The trick to it is that it requires you to time you letting go of your stick at a certain point to make it to where you go down instead of up. The problem with it is that depending on the speed of the character, this can be very hard or very easy. With Rose, I can do this very easily because he's not very fast. But this Goku is very fast and hard to control. So it's very difficult to do this tech with him. But it is a possibility. Another thing that you can do is this. Did you see what I did right there? Yeah, that is a tech setup that you can do right there. You can do whatever you want after that. It also works with this. However, as you saw right there, it works a little bit differently. See how it knocks them in the way that I can't really, Well, there is a setup that you can do with this. You see what I did right there? This character is a character that can immediately jump off the ground when he's flying across the ground like that. There are a few characters in the game that can do this. Rose is one of them. Master UI Goku can do it. I think Hit can do it, if I'm not mistaken. But he's got a unique little jump where he can do this. That allows you to do that combo. Allows you to set up, unlock back hit like that after a jump hit. Now for key slides, he has this one here. So this one is, it's pretty awkward to be honest. It requires you to shoot it over their head. And you gotta be fast. If you're not any faster than what I did right there, it will not work. They can get up. Then he's got this one here. Oh, hold on. This one's a little bit awkward as well. And then the other method that he has is this. After his grab, you can also get a key slide off, which allows you to do back hit sliding. And then, let's see here, I do believe, what is the other method that he has? What was that other method, I think? Oh yes, this one. If you, this is more like a combo video thing, but you can key slide off of this as well. As for key teching, he really honestly doesn't need... He really honestly kind of doesn't need it because of that one glitch he has. But if you really, really want to do it, you can do it with this combo here. And but you gotta do it so fast because you see how freaking fast they fly away. And it allows you to get that really weird looking angle. But that's about it. That's about it. If you try and do any, if you try his other combo here, it doesn't really work. And I'll try and show that to you as best as I can. See, it goes over their head. It's very, very strange. Let's see here. I do believe that is about it. Actually, no, I've got one more tag that I can show you. If you time it right, you can do this with Celestial Way. So you've got to be in the front of them. If you're not in front of them, it will not work. Because they will get up faster, as you saw right there. It requires you to time it right though, so keep that in mind. See? You gotta make that Key Blast curve over them and hit them. If it doesn't, you can't do this. Hold on, let me turn my stamina. Recovery to unlimited. Because this is a little bit difficult to do. But this is a setup that you can perform. And you can do whatever you want after that. What I like to do is this. But anyways, that is it for the video, everybody. If you liked this video, please leave a like, maybe share it, and if you are new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I appreciate all the support, and I try to upload as often as I can. If you like this content from me, it really helps. And I will see you all in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this guide, and maybe learned something.